All right, so in this video, I'm going to show you how to use the Profit Planner. Now, like I say in the copy, it is very easy to use. The reason why most business owners don't take the time to learn a new program is because it's very difficult. This thing is super simple to use. It's like using a spreadsheet, except for you cannot break it. Okay, so the first thing you want to do is put in your business and personal expenses. So when you do business expenses, it's everything except for the labor to install the job. Okay, so if you have an employee that answers the phone calls or emails, something like that, you put them in there. If you have an employee that does the actual installation, you do not put them in there. Okay, when you do employees, you do want to add 40% just to cover, the taxes, workman's comp, all that kind of good stuff. Okay, so you put all that in there, and then for personal expenses, same thing. I just added different things, but easy enough. This is the same as would it be for business, but you would choose whatever the things are. So just say groceries. I already put it in, but we'll do another time. But you can choose for weekly, monthly, or yearly. In this case, I'll put in monthly. Just say it's 500 a month. Okay. So it would save that, and then it's going to put it in here for you. Okay. So that's all you have to do there. The next thing you're going to do is your jobs. Okay. So you want the more jobs you put in here, the more accurate this information is going to be for you. Okay. So what I'm going to do is just put everything for the first. You don't have to put the customer name. You're going to choose the type of job. Now, when you first start, that's going to be blank. You would just hit add new, and then you can put in whatever you want. So we'll do for aluminum installation. Let's say it's $5,000. Materials are $2,500, and labor, just say is $1,000. Okay, takes 1 day. Referred by, this is just so you can start tracking where all your leads and stuff are coming from. Conversations down here. So this is your personal time tracker. So this is the amount of minutes for each area of the business that took to fulfill this job. The reason why we're doing this is so that way you can start tracking your time. So that way we can start manipulating everything in your favor. So that way you can earn more money, but work less hours. Okay, so for this, for phone calls, just pretend it took 15 minutes, emails 15. On-site estimates. So how long did it take you to get there? How long did it take you to get back? And how long were you there for? Let's say it's 30 there, 30 back, 30 at the job. Well, then that's 90 minutes. Proposal. How long did it take you to put together? How long did it take you to order materials? Same thing for delivery. How long did it take you to actually get the materials and get them to the job if you don't have them delivered? Installation. Now for this, let's pretend that you were there for 10 hours. So that would be 600 minutes. Final payment if you had to go back. Advertising if you did door hangers, stuff like that. We'll just say that. Okay. So here it'll break down that you work 14 and a half hours. You make about $102 an hour, and we're going to save that. We're going to do just 2 more. But you can see how quick this is. Cedar, we're going to keep it at 5,000. Let's go with that. 1 day. Now for this, let's say that you have a good team that does it and you only had to be there for just say 3 hours. Okay, final payment and okay. So here you only had to work 7 hours and you made $341 an hour. Okay, and then we'll do one last one. Okay, and we'll choose that, and same thing, we'll just go through this. Let's say for this, I don't know, 450 minutes. And then 10 and 5. Okay, so we're going to save all this. Now you can already see it. There's not, with this, here's all your profit percents. So obviously, if you look here, that Cedar is going to be your highest profit, and your daily profit, you're making $2,500 a day. And then total hours, you can see here that this is the least, second least, and most amount of hours. Okay. Here's where we go now into the future planner. This is the thing that really makes the profit planner tick. This is what allows you to actually see what's going on in your business and actually start tweaking numbers to see what's going to actually happen in the future. That's why it's called the future planner. So for the date range, you would pick whatever the date range is. In this case, I just did the first because that's what I did for all of them. First one is the profit adjuster. You can pick the job type. This, we're going to do all. So what this is going to do is it breaks down, and we're going to see what happens if we adjust our profit. Okay, right now our average profit percent is 33. Let's say we want to get that to 40% because most of the people online are saying 50%, but let's tweak it to 40. So in order to do that, we have to charge basically an extra $333. So in the grand scheme of things, going from 5,000 to 5,300, really not that big of a deal. And here's what's going to happen when you adjust all that. Okay, by raising your price by 330 hours, dollars, that you have basically two options. You can either work less or you can make more. Okay, so if you decide to work less, now instead of needing 3.84 jobs per week, and this is based on the average profit per job and your expenses. So now you're not saying I need to book more jobs. No, it's I need to book 3.84 jobs, or roughly 4 jobs per week. Okay. Well, because we raised it by $300, now you need only 3.2, which is half, a little more than half a job per week, or 33 less jobs per year. Now, what happens to your hours? So you went from working an average of about 43 hours a week. Now you're only working about 36. Okay, you're saving 7 hours per week, or almost 372 hours per year. That's huge. So, like, think of all the extra time you can spend with your family, or do something you actually feel like doing. Now, if you wanted to work the same amount of hours, you wanted to book the same amount of jobs, well, by charging an extra $333, you're going to make an extra $1,000 a week, or almost $56,000 a year. Okay, just by charging an extra $300 per job. The next one is the weekly hours adjuster. So right now you're, here it says you're working about 43 hours a week. Well, just say you wanted to bump that up and you wanted to work 50 hours per week. Okay. What's going to happen is, based upon all your numbers, is you're going to make an extra 1,200 per week, or 65 grand per year. Or if you already make enough money and you want to work less, well, if I only work 35 hours a week, well, now I'm making 1,400 less, or $72,000 less. Job hour adjuster. Now, this one's super cool. This one's very helpful. This gets people to understand what happens when you stop doing the installation and hire someone else to do it. So if you hire your own employees, subs, whatever it may be. So what this does, based on the day range, this is the average minutes you work for each area of that business. Okay. Now, there's different things you can take away, but typically you want to go with the one that's the most. So let's pretend that you hired another employee to do this work for you. Okay. So what we're going to do is take that from 410 to 0. Okay. Now it's going to tell you how much additional that cost. The way it knows how much that cost is you're going to go into rates, and you would actually change the stuff. So this is what, you put in these numbers. So if you're paying someone $20 an hour, you want to have 40% to that. So it would be $28, right? So that's for the installation as well. So, that's, you're paying someone 20 an hour. So now it's really costing you 28. So because you did that to 0, what's going to happen is it costs you, about $200 per week. Okay. So the average job, or I'm sorry, this is the average, it's costing you about $200 per job. So what's going to happen is you go from 3.84 jobs you need per week to now you only need an extra 4.3. So it's a half a job per week, or 26 jobs per year. So a lot of times people think they can't afford a crew, but really you can. You see how simple it is here. Here's the fun part. You went from 43 hours to only 19 hours. You're cutting 24 hours a week off. 24. So it's huge, absolutely huge, just because you hired someone. Okay. Expense adjuster. Now, if you're trying to plan something, so this, obviously I don't need 100 grand a year for trucks, but anyway, let's pretend that the warehouse currently spending about $1,000 a month. Well, there's a bigger one you want to spend 3 grand a month. So we're going to change this to $36,000. Okay. So the additional cost is 24 grand to you. And then you'll see how many jobs you need to book. Well, I need to go from 3.8 to 4.12. So it's about a quarter job per week, 15 jobs per year. And if everything stays the same, I'm going to go from working 43 hours to 46. So I have to work an extra 3 hours per week to have that bigger warehouse. So now you can see if it's worth it to you or not. You can do the same thing with your personal expenses. So if you wanted to move to a different house, if you want to get a vacation home, whatever, you can put that in there. Advertising adjuster, very important. So here, if you're doing Google ads, stuff like that, you should know how much your leads are costing you. So in this case, we're going to say $35 per lead, and roughly need just say 10 leads per job. So you're, one job per 10 leads. Okay. So your average value per job is $16.66. Now this takes it based upon the jobs that you put in, and the ad cost is $350. The way you get that is basically 10 leads times $35, so it's $350. So then all said and done, you're making basically $1,300 per job after you pay for the advertising. Now here's where it gets exciting. So let's do your advertising budget. Say you only spend 500 bucks a month, right? Well, you're spending 500 bucks a month, but you're getting an additional 1,800 or $22,000 a year. Okay. And if you're like me, you're like, hey, if I can do 500 and get that much, well, what happens if I do 3,500? So you make an additional 13 grand per month. And again, this is after you pay for your advertising, and you're making an extra $158,000 in profit. This isn't sales, this is profit. Okay, so this is where it's really important to understand that paying for advertising is a very good thing as long as it's working out for you. Job type adjuster, this is my favorite. So right now, what it does is it breaks everything down. Obviously, when you put in your stuff, it's not going to do 33%. It's going to have your actual numbers, okay? But for this, you can come over here. It shows you what your average profit is. So obviously, this is best, second, third. And you can see in here for the hours, best, second, third. Now, let's see what happens when we adjust this stuff. If you're doing a lot of different types of jobs, if you see what's the most profitable, which is this by far, is let's just tweak it to be 50% of the jobs now, okay? And then this is the second. So you can do this a few different ways because this is $1,000. This is less in profit than this, but you're also working a lot less hours, okay? But for this, let's just say we break this down to 25 and 25. Okay, by you getting more cedar fence installations and getting rid of some of the other ones, what's going to end up happening is you go from 3.8 jobs per week to 3.4. So it's about half a job per week or 22 jobs a year. But here's where it's really important with the hours. Now you go from working 43 hours a week to 35. You're saving 8 hours a week or 420 hours. This is why it's so important to use the profit planner, because if you kept on doing the same thing over and over, well, you would have been stuck working 43 hours. But because you use this, now you only have to work 35 hours a week. You're saving yourself an entire work shift just because you're using the profit planner. Again, it's super simple to use. As you can see, it's very quick to put everything in there. And then at least then you know what's going on. You can actually understand your numbers and life is good. So have a great day.